Welcome back everyone, it's Charlie. This is going to be my video for The Boys Season 2 teaser that they just released for Stormfront's character. They explained a whole bunch of what's going on with the storyline, when things are when they pick up in episode 1. There's a bunch of Easter eggs, so we'll break it all down. If you're new to my channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos for The Boys Season 2. We're actually going to be getting episodes way sooner than I thought. So we'll just break this down top 5 WTF style, and it is very WTF, as you would expect from The Boys. Starting with number 5, meet Aya Cash as Stormfront from The Boys comics. One of the worst characters next to Homelander, if not even worse, because of her origin story. If you've read The Boys comic book, they have made some changes to Stormfront's backstory in the way they're using the character in the war between the Boys and the Seven during Season 2. Just the same way that they changed the comic book plot during Season 1, so no big surprise that they changed things a little bit. Anthony Starr, the actor who plays Homelander, says that she's basically the grenade that gets thrown into Homelander's world and the world of the Seven. Homelander said she causes me so many problems, so many different types of problems. What are those problems? I'll get into those in a second because some of them are a little bit funnier in WTF than the others. Some of them are physical problems like actual fighting, but some of them are much more complicated. So number 4 WTF, Homelander versus Stormfront in the war between the Boys and the Seven. What is her relationship with Homelander in the Seven? What is her relationship with Billy Butcher in the Boys? Because in the comics, Stormfront actually spends most of his comic book story with Billy Butcher in the Boys. That's where you get most of that. You also find out a lot about the team that Stormfront leads in the comics, like the Seven is the main team, like the Justice League or the Avengers of the world of the Boys. They're the A-list heroes, but there are other really big superhero teams. Stormfront leads a team called Payback. Even though there are a ton of characters and a ton of agendas going on inside the world of the Boys, everyone has their own angle that they're trying to play. It's mostly a story about Billy Butcher trying to use the Boys to tear down the Seven and people's perception of the Seven. These aren't superheroes, they're terrible people. And even though Billy Butcher doesn't have superpowers in the traditional sense, his real superpower is actually the way he uses information against superheroes. So he learns all about their weaknesses. Usually he gets that information through all kinds of different means, through intimidation, through blackmail, any way that he can. So in the comics, Billy Butcher tries to use Stormfront against Homelander. I don't know if they're necessarily implying it's going to be exactly like that during Season 2. For the most part, Stormfront is meant to be a character that Homelander can't intimidate the way that he intimidates everyone else. Everyone is terrified of him. We've seen that during Season 1, because he is the world's most powerful superhero. The thing about Stormfront is that she's almost as powerful as him, more powerful than Queen Maeve. Like they say that within the world of the Seven, Queen Maeve is also one of the world's strongest superheroes, but she can't fly, she doesn't have nearly as many abilities as Homelander is, and she's not quite as invulnerable. Just to make a Dragon Ball Z analogy, Stormfront is kind of like the Vegeta of the series, just in terms of power scaling. So if Homelander is an evil version of Goku, imagine Stormfront is a more evil version of Vegeta. So even though they might not be at each other's throats all the time, there is this rivalry between the two of them. If you haven't read the comics, obviously all the superheroes are meant to be parodies of traditional DC Comics and Marvel Comics superheroes. Stormfront is meant to be a parody of Thor and Shazam. She can fly, she has lightning-based powers, like she can literally spit lightning out of her mouth. The way the actors are describing Stormfront's storyline when things pick up during Season 2, Episode 1, is that she's thrown into the mix, into the Seven, and she becomes this Chernobyl for them, causing them to melt down, starting with Homelander. Number 3 WTF, Stormfront's costume and all the big comic book changes they made, and a bunch of Easter eggs that you're probably spotting here. This is what Stormfront's costume looks like in the comics, so obviously this is the modern version of that, because in the comics, Stormfront is actually one of the original, if not the original, superhero created by Vought during World War II. They didn't really get into it during Season 1 of the TV series, but you have this line of superheroes originating from all these German experiments during World War II from the Third Reich, and that's basically where Vought developed the technology for creating superheroes in Compound V. So after World War II, Operation Paperclip happened, and you have all these German scientists, including Vogelbaum, who created Compound V, coming to the United States, taking on new identities. And that's when they created Vought American and started their modern incarnation when they created Homelander, based on all the technology that they used developing Stormfront. So even though there's no biological relationship between these two characters, Stormfront was kind of like the beta version of Homelander. So notice all the Third Reich paraphernalia mixed with the American flag armbands. It's a little bit similar to what's going on with Homelander's character, but in a much more overt way, and obviously referencing the comic book version of the character. So it's not like she's going to be going full-blown Nazism or anything like that. The way this reads to me is that she'll be something of a white supremacist. The actors also call Stormfront's character very old-fashioned in her beliefs, but very modern in her practices. I'll explain what that modern means in a second. Anthony Starr, who plays Homelander, says that Stormfront on the TV show isn't quite into the celebrity culture and fanfare that the Seven are. And the way he describes Homelander versus Stormfront is there's also this social media public perception aspect to it, because it's all about the way the public perceives the Seven. And apparently Homelander is just terrible at social media. He has all these other people running their accounts. Remember what happened to Butcher's wife during season 1? I know everyone's still wondering, did she willingly sleep with him? What was going on with all that? Are they going to explain it during season 2? Remember that she was initially hired by Vought to handle all the social media and marketing for Homelander. So because there's something of a competition going on between Homelander and Stormfront, it sounds like Stormfront is also going to be using a lot of social media in public perception to twist up Homelander in a way that he can't fight with his fists. They get into it in the comics a little bit more, but the whole point of Vought American creating superheroes in the first place is purely to earn money. And in order to do that, they create all this merchandise, they create comic books based on fake backstories, they create movies like all the fake movies that Black Noir is starring in with Seth Rogen's director character. All of that is part of a giant propaganda merchandising machine for the purposes of earning more money. So while Homelander is the world's most powerful superhero, physically he could kill everyone on the planet if he wanted to. He doesn't want to do that. He wants a family, he wants everyone's love and admiration, which is why that's a huge weakness for him. So obviously Stormfront is going to be using those weaknesses against him during season 2. Number 2 WTF, Stormfront's powers. So she's almost as invulnerable as Homelander. She can fly just like Homelander, but she can also give off lightning. So if you saw the Shazam movie, if you saw any Marvel movie with Thor in it, it's basically like that. The way the actors, the producers talk about Stormfront versus Homelander during season 2 is that she knows how to play him and will do everything she can to avoid a one-on-one fight with him, knowing that she would probably lose. So a lot of the things that she'll be doing will be more sinister, in addition to the traditional comic book fare. Obviously, she has cool powers, she's super strong, so you're going to see her beat the crap out of a bunch of people. Think about it this way, though. They're both psychopaths. She's just a slightly different type of psychopath than Homelander. But number 1, when are the episodes coming out? When's the next big trailer going to drop? And what's going on with The Boys Season 3? So the good news is, it sounds like they've already soft renewed The Boys for season 3. Karl Urban said that he wasn't taking on a lot of other giant film projects because he was so committed, quote unquote, to The Boys, meaning that he would be busy filming The Boys season 3 later this year. They'll be screening the first 10 minutes or so of The Boys Season 2 Episode 1 this Sunday, but I think that's going to be a private event. I don't know if they're going to drop all 10 minutes of that online. Whatever they wind up releasing, I will totally do a video for, but it's supposed to be the first 10 minutes of Season 2 Episode 1. They said that because Season 1 was so popular, they gave them a giant budget for Season 2, so there's going to be way more characters, way more craziness, way more big battles. Karl Urban also revealed that the Season 2 Episode 1 release date was going to be somewhere around the middle of the summer, but they could move that up because of all the Disney Plus Falcon and Winter Soldier stuff that's going to be dropping later this summer, so they might want to try and avoid that. So good news is, we might get Season 2 Episode 1 even earlier than July. But everyone, let me know in the comments if you have any big questions about The Boys Season 2, what's going on. Of course, I'll do more bonus videos when they drop new footage or new big details. It's going to be crazy in the best possible way. Westworld Season 3 Episode 1 is also starting on Sunday night. I'll be doing weekly videos for that, so as long as you have alerts enabled for my channel, you should see all those videos when I post them. Everyone, click here for that brand new Black Widow trailer with all the new Taskmaster Avengers scenes, and click here for that new Boys Season 2 trailer video. Thank you so much for watching. Everyone stay awesome. I'll see you guys tonight.